Have you ever wondered why the quietest people often carry the most strength? In a world that never stops talking, posting, and shouting for attention, silence might look like weakness. But what if I told you that silence is the loudest proof of unshakable confidence? We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen, to clap back, to prove their worth with words. But true power, it often walks quietly, without the need to announce itself, argue, or seek approval. Let me share something it took me years to understand. Silence is not the absence of strength. It is the evidence of it. In a society that glorifies noise, applause, and endless validation, those who learn to master silence have already won half the battle. You don't have to raise your voice to prove your point. You don't have to jump into every argument, defend every misunderstanding, or respond to every critic trying to bait you into a reaction. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to say nothing and keep moving forward. Why? Because there's a quietness that comes when your confidence no longer depends on what others think. When you know who you are, you stop needing the spotlight. You stop needing to explain yourself, defend your decisions, or prove your worth. Your silence is not fear, it's focus. Your attention is too precious to waste on noise. And trust me, not every battle is yours to fight. Not every voice deserves your energy. Some arguments are carefully laid traps, distractions dressed up as invitations to engage, designed to pull you away from your assignment and purpose. There was a time in my life when I thought silence made me look weak. That if I didn't clarify every rumor or correct every lie, I was surrendering my power. But the truth is, it takes far more strength to hold your peace than to fight with fools. The truly strong don't need to speak loudly to be heard. Their life speaks for them. Their work, their peace, their consistent progress, it becomes the message. Silence is not just an action. It's a posture of trust. When you choose silence, you're saying to God, I trust you to fight for me. I trust you to handle what I cannot, and He will. Sometimes the reason doors remain closed or breakthroughs seem delayed is because you're still fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You're still trying to control outcomes with words when what you really need is surrender. God doesn't need your defense, He needs your faith. Look at Jesus standing before His accusers. He didn't scream, He didn't argue or justify Himself. He stood in silence, knowing that truth doesn't need to be shouted to be true. His silence wasn't weakness. It was power under control. It wasn't retreat. It was authority. In your life, you will be misunderstood, misjudged, and underestimated. Let them. Your silence in those moments isn't emptiness. It's a declaration that you are anchored, unbothered, and stable. People who shout the loudest are often looking for something they haven't found: validation, relevance, a sense of worth. But when you know you're walking in purpose, you don't chase acknowledgement. Your consistency does the talking. Your results make the noise. Think about a tree. You don't need to explain how tall it's growing. It just keeps reaching upward, quietly and consistently. And one day, the same people who ignored the seed will have no choice but to notice the fruit. Staying silent isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about mastering your spirit. You have to reach a point where your peace is untouchable, where someone else's bad day doesn't steal your joy, and where people's opinions don't derail your progress. Because here's the truth. When the enemy can't destroy you, he will try to distract you. He'll send confusion, offense, and pointless debates to pull you out of alignment. But when you stay silent, keep your focus, and refuse to play into the drama, you win every single time. Don't waste your precious energy trying to prove to people what God has already spoken over your life. Let them think what they want. Them say what they will. You keep building. You keep showing up. You keep doing the work in silence. Because there will come a time when your breakthrough will speak louder than your defense ever could. Stay grounded. Stay focused. Stay silent. And watch what God will do. There is a kind of growth that can only happen in silence, away from the noise, the crowd, and the pressure to perform. We live in a world that tells us we need to always be seen to matter, always be heard to remain relevant. But there is a deeper work God does in the unseen places of your life. Transformation doesn't begin under the spotlight. It begins in the quiet corners of your soul, where nobody is watching and nothing is applauding. Some of the most powerful seasons of your life will feel lonely, not because you are unloved, but because you are being set apart. And hear this: separation is not rejection, it's preparation. God often isolates before He elevates. He pulls you aside, not to punish you, but to process you, to show you who you are without the noise, to teach you how to be whole without a crowd clapping. For you, growth requires stillness, discipline, and yes, sometimes it requires walking alone. Think about the seed before it becomes a tree. It first goes underground, hidden and unseen. It has to break in the dark before it can rise in the light. Nobody claps for the seed while it's buried. There's no applause for the breaking. But it's necessary. That isolation is not abandonment. It's divine development. There will be seasons when God allows you to be hidden, not to forget you, but to prepare you, to strengthen your roots before allowing you to bloom. People may not understand your season of hiddenness. They may say you've changed, that you're distant or different. Let them think what they want. You are not here to explain your process. You are here to protect it, because when you are building something real within yourself, you don't have time to be everywhere, to please everyone, or to entertain every opinion. You are not available for distractions. Let the world keep shouting. Let others chase applause. You keep growing quietly, because when the time comes, your fruit will speak louder than your explanations ever could. Silence is strength. Silence is strategy. Silence is surrender to God's timing. And sometimes silence is your greatest statement of faith. So today, if you feel unseen, uncelebrated, or misunderstood, remember, you're not being overlooked, you're being cultivated. Let God work in the silence. Let Him build you and know. One is watching. So when it's time for you to step into the light, you will be ready, rooted, and unshakable. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to explain your every move. Stay silent, stay focused, stay faithful. Watch how God will bring victory in ways you could never achieve by arguing for your worth. You don't have to announce your growth, just keep growing. You don't have to prove your calling, just keep walking in it. You don't have to demand respect, just keep living with integrity. Because the time will come when the fruit of your life will silence every critic, every doubt, and every lie spoken against you. So today, let your silence be your strategy, your discipline, your worship, and your trust. Let your quietness testify that you are grounded in something deeper than public opinion. Let your hidden seasons strengthen your faith. Because in a world that glorifies noise, God often whispers in the quiet. Listen for His voice, move at His pace, and let the silence shape you for the elevation of Hosi. After you learn to embrace the power of silence, you will face seasons where everything feels still, where it feels like your prayers are echoing back in the empty room unanswered. But those quiet seasons, they are not a sign of God's absence. They are often the places where God is doing His deepest work within you. It's during those silent stretches that He prunes your heart, healing wounds you didn't even realize were still bleeding, building your character piece by piece in ways you can't yet see. You might not notice it immediately, but one day, you will step into a room carrying a quiet confidence that speaks louder than any words you could ever say. You'll find that you no longer need constant attention to feel valuable. You no longer chase after love from places that only drained your energy before. That is the fruit of private growth. That is the power that silence brings into your life. And let me tell you, not everyone is meant to walk with you in this season. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. And the longer you try to drag them into spaces they were never designed to enter, the longer your destiny will be delayed. Let them go. Let them misunderstand you if they need to. Let them call it arrogance if they want to. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your process. What you owe yourself is obedience to follow where God is leading you, even if that path becomes lonely and quiet. Growth is uncomfortable. It will stretch you beyond your comfort zone. It will humble you. exposing areas in your life that still need healing. But don't run from it. Don't try to numb it. Lean into it, because God isn't interested in making you popular. He is interested in making you powerful. Real power doesn't need to announce itself, doesn't need to scream for attention. It moves with purpose, speaks with wisdom, and walks in peace. So, when you find yourself in a quiet season, don't rush to escape it. Don't look for a way out. Learn to sit in it. Learn to listen deeply. Learn to become who you are meant to be, because what God is doing in you during those silent moments is far greater than anything the world could give you under the spotlight. In the hidden spaces of silence, you are being shaped. You are being sharpened. You are being prepared, not for people, but for your purpose. Stay in the process. Stay in the silence. That is where true power is born. One of the hardest lessons you will ever learn is that not everyone deserves access to your journey. Not everyone is meant to sit at your table, know your plans, or walk beside you. And that's not pride. That's protection. That's wisdom. You cannot build a life of peace if you keep handing out the keys of your life to people who only bring chaos into your space. Your purpose is sacred. It must be guarded as something precious, because the wrong people in the right places will always lead to wrong outcomes. You don't need to explain your every move to everyone. You don't need to announce each decision you make. The most powerful moments of your life will often happen in silence, away from the crowd's eyes. And one of the most dangerous things you could ever do is to share something sacred with someone who is not spiritually mature enough to handle it. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they are meant to go where you are going. Some people may be familiar with you, but they are not assigned to your destiny. You must know the difference. We live in a culture where everyone feels the need to post, prove, and publicize every step. But your next move should remain between you and God. Keep it private. Protect it. You don't need to prove to the world that you are growing. Growth will reveal itself in time. You don't need applause when you have alignment with your purpose. You don't need permission from people when you are walking in what God has called you to do. Let your life speak for itself. Let your character, your peace, your results, and your consistency do the talking for you. Many of the greatest setbacks people face come from trusting the wrong voices. When you let the wrong people into your heart, your vision, and your sacred spaces, they will begin to plant seeds of doubt, confusion, and fear. That is why you must be selective with who you allow into your life. This is not about being cold or bitter. It's about being wise. There's a difference between having a good heart and giving it away to people who were never meant to carry it. Some people were only supposed to pass through your life for a season, but you gave them permanent residence in your mind and heart. It is time to let go of what no longer honors your growth. There is a weight that comes with calling, a responsibility that cannot be shared with everyone. If they do not carry the oil, they cannot carry the weight. And if they do not understand the cost of your calling, they will never respect the blessing that comes with it. You must stop expecting support from people who were never equipped to support you. It is not that they are bad people. It is simply that they are not built for your path. And that is okay. Let them go in peace. God will often reduce your circle before He elevates you, because elevation requires separation. It is God clearing the room so that He can speak to you without any interference. You can't hear clearly when you are surrounded by constant noise. Can't grow fully when you are always explaining yourself, defending your choices, and performing for approval. There is a power in being still, in moving quietly, stand, and trusting that what God has for you does not need an audience to be secure. It's okay to move differently now. It's okay to become distant from what no longer serves you. It's okay to outgrow certain people, places, and conversations. That's what growth does. It creates a separation. Not because you think you are better, but because you are becoming who God has called you to be. You have changed. You have matured. You've learned how to value your time, your energy, and your peace. And now, you are not so quick to invite people into spaces they haven't earned the right to enter. That's not arrogance. That's stewardship. That is understanding that the more God gives you, the more He expects you to protect it. So let them say you've changed. Let them say you're quiet now. Let them say you're distant. They don't see the prayers you pray in secret. They don't know the weight you carry daily. They don't feel the calling that wakes you up in the middle of the night. You are not being rude. You are being responsible. You are not ignoring people. You are ignoring distractions. There comes a moment when you will realize that protecting your peace is more important than being understood. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just walk. Just grow. Just focus. Because those who are truly meant to be in your life will not need constant access to validate your relationship. They will respect the silence, honor your journey, and meet you at your next level if they are meant to walk with you. You don't need the crowd to clap for you. What you need is the courage to continue, even in the silence. When you truly focus on yourself, you begin to step into a freedom you didn't even know was possible. You stop living under the heavy weight of someone else's expectations. And you start living in alignment with your own God-given purpose. And there is something deeply beautiful about realizing that you don't need anyone's permission to be at peace. You don't need to meet their standards or perform for their approval. All you need is to meet God's standard for your life. And that is more than enough. The moment you decide to focus on your own growth instead of everyone else's journey, you will begin to see how much energy you've been wasting on things that carry no eternal value. You will see how many hours you have spent worrying about what others think, about what they are doing, what they have, and what they are achieving. It's so easy to get caught in that exhausting cycle, especially in a world that constantly compares and competes, pushing you to measure yourself against the highlight reels of others. But when you shift your attention back to your own growth, your own purpose, your own journey, you become so focused on what God is doing inside of you that you no longer have the capacity to compare. You start to realize that what others are doing, what they have, and what they say about you, it simply doesn't matter. Your peace comes from knowing that you are walking in your assignment, not theirs. There is a profound strength in discovering that true peace comes from within, from knowing who you are and whose you are. When you learn to cultivate this kind of peace in your own heart, no one can take it from you. Life will throw storms your way: disappointment, rejection, loss, frustration, but if you build your peace from the inside out, nothing will be able to shake you. The storm may rage around you, but you will remain steady in your spirit. That is the kind of strength we need in this world today. It's a peace that is not tied to a single moment or to a single person. It's a peace that flows directly from God, not from your circumstances. And when you discover that peace, you will begin to see its fruit manifest in your life: clarity, confidence, joy, and the ability to stand firm no matter what comes your way. Here's the beautiful part. When you cultivate this inner peace, everything around you begins to change. Your relationships shift, your situations transform, and even your challenges begin to look different. Why? Because peace carries a power of its own, a power that can change the entire atmosphere of your life. When you are at peace with yourself, you stop attracting chaos. You stop tolerating toxic environments. You stop chasing things and people that drain your spirit. Instead, you start attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings that align with your purpose. When you focus on yourself and make peace your priority, everything else in your life begins to align with that peace. The energy you pour into your inner world starts to reflect in your outer world. So why do we continue to chase external validation? Why do we look for peace in people and things that can never truly give it? It's because we have been conditioned to believe that our worth and our peace are tied to external achievements and approval. But the truth is, peace is a choice and a process. And when you realize that, you begin to take back your power. You stop waiting for someone else to make you feel good about yourself. You stop depending on circumstances to dictate your joy. You decide that your peace comes from the inside out. And that is where your true strength lies. The world will continue to demand your attention, trying to shake you, confuse you, and make you believe that you are not enough. Peace is your choice. You get to decide whether you will be swept away by the noise of the world, or if you will anchor yourself in something unshakable. Once you make that decision, once you declare that your peace is non-negotiable, everything changes. No one can disturb your peace unless you allow them to. So focus on yourself. Work on yourself. Let your inner peace be a reflection of your faith, your strength, your commitment to this journey God has you on. And when you do that, you will be amazed at how everything else begins to fall into place. There is something profoundly powerful about being still in a world that is always moving. It's always running, always hustling and competing. While everyone else is chasing noise, you are learning to sit in the silence. You are learning that progress doesn't always look like action. Sometimes progress looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like waiting. Sometimes it looks like trust in God when the world tells you to panic. In those quiet moments, God is doing a deep work inside you that does not require applause, recognition, or validation. It is a work that can only be completed in silence. And it is a process that cannot be rushed. The world will tell you to move faster, to push harder, to do more, but God will often call you to rest. He will call you to be still and know that He is God. In that stillness, you will find your true strength. In the silence, you will gain clarity. In the waiting, you will find your direction. Because sometimes, the loudest and most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Victory is not always found in the noise, the rush, or the hustle. It is found in those quiet moments of surrender, where you let go and trust God completely. When we rush through life, we miss the moments that actually matter. We miss the lessons God is trying to teach us in the stillness. But when you focus on yourself and embrace the silence, you will discover that the more space you give God to work, the more He will reveal to you. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It is the presence of God's work in your life. It's when you stop trying to control everything, when you stop trying to manage every detail, and simply let go, that God begins to move in ways you never imagined. He moves in the silence. He works in the stillness, prepares you for what is ahead in ways you may not understand yet. We often fail to grasp the power of silence because we have been taught that noise equals productivity, that busyness equals progress. But some of your most important growth will happen when no one is looking, when there is no applause, when there is no audience cheering you on. In those moments when it feels like nothing is happening, you're being prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. It is in the waiting that God develops the character. You will need to carry the blessings He is preparing for you. God doesn't always move in the ways we expect. Sometimes He moves in ways we do not understand. It's in ways that don't make sense in the moment. But if you are willing to wait, to remain silent, and to trust the process, you will see that He is working all things together for your good. It is in the silence that you become stronger. It is in the stillness that you truly grow. The world says, keep moving, keep striving, keep pushing. But God says, be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, you will find your confidence, your peace, and your power. The truth is, when you learn to embrace silence, you begin to hear things you would have missed in the noise. You start to hear God's voice more clearly. You start to hear the desires of your own heart. You begin to hear what truly matters and what aligns with your purpose. As you focus on yourself and embrace that silence, you will discover that your life is not defined by how much noise you make, but by the depth of your inner peace, your faith, and your strength. In that silence, you will find wisdom. The more you sit in stillness, the more you learn. You learn about yourself, about your purpose, and about what truly matters in this life. You stop running after fleeting things and begin to focus on what is eternal. And the longer you stay silent, the more you realize that the life you have been trying to build on your own was never meant to be built by your own strength alone. It was meant to be built with God. It is only when you learn to rest in His presence, to be silent before Him, that you begin to see the magnitude of the blessings He has prepared for you. So stop trying to rush your process. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's. Stop looking at their progress and thinking you are behind. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. Let God work in you during those moments when it feels like nothing is happening. Because in that silence, He is preparing you for something far greater than you can even imagine. When the time is right, you will see the results of that quiet work in your life, and you will know that it was worth every moment of stillness. Stay silent, stay focused. Trust the process,